flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you for joining us for our May Board of Supervisors meeting. I think you've all heard the announcements several times, so I think we can just skip those for tonight and move right to the agenda.
Right.
The first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the April 1st meeting minutes.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from our April meeting. Questions before we vote?
Aye.
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 5 votes to the affirmative.
Approved.
Approve the minutes. We'll move to the treasurer's report. I would note that, as we expected, our interest is down about $2,900, but it's a lot of it's invested in CDs, so we won't see the interest until they mature. We had about $850 in fines and $425 in rentals in the park for picnic pavilions. So that certainly helps cover some of the expenses as we're putting grills and buying more bags for cornhole and things like that. So it's nice to see that. Most of them are non-residents in the township, so they're paying the higher fee, by the way. Are there any questions or comments, or Todd, anything you want to say on the treasurer's report?
I have nothing to add.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the treasurer's report. Call for the vote.
Aye.
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 5 votes to the affirmative. We have approved the treasurer's report. We have the first opportunity for public comment. If anybody wishes to address the board at this time, it should be items related to the agenda. I think most of you are on the agenda, so we will move forward from that to ordinances and resolutions, which actually we don't have anything under that tonight. So we'll move to subdivision and land development. And the first item, I guess, is approving modifications in the final plan for the Elm Drive warehouse that we sort of all call Hillwood. No, this is the Kinsley, isn't it? Right? Okay. Todd, do you want to introduce it, or I don't know if you want these gentlemen?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Right.
If you're okay, I'll just
Yep.
give it a quick overview, and we have the engineer and
I think
a
that
representative from
I think that
Kinsley
would
here
be
if you
helpful.
have any questions. But of course, this is the sorry, sharing a mouse.
My apologies for confusing you with the guys across the road.
This is the parcel was already approved for the warehouse.
Right.
And there's one parcel that was already existing and was owned by Kinsley. And then this one here was recently purchased, and this was missed when they did their first subdivision. They purchased this property, so what they're basically doing is adding these two lots onto the large lot, and it'll just become one large parcel. And in doing so, if I get down here. Not that it really matters at this point in time, but being able to do that, they also, if I'm correct, able to eliminate a pretty significant retaining wall with that property. So all this really is doing is merging those two lots.
Just merging those lots.
Into this one. And then, of course, we just thought it's probably best to reapprove the modification requests. The board already approved these with the previous plan, but we felt that we
Right,
should
there's
probably
nothing
do that
new.
again. Nothing new.
on the mod.
It's the same ones that the board already approved previously, so just ask you would reapprove those.
Questions on the modification part or a motion?
Is there anything outstanding on the C.S. Davidson letter?
Well, this is just modifications first, then we'll do the plan.
My
So I'll put
apologies.
that.
I'll make the motion that we reapprove the previously approved modifications.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Questions? Call for the vote.
Aye.
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 5 votes to the affirmative, so we have reapproved the modification request. And we'll move to the final plan.
Yeah, and then as far as the plan, you have a copy also of C.S. Davidson review letter dated April 2nd. Everything's pretty well addressed in that, so we just ask the board to grant approval on the condition that all the comments in the April 2nd, 2026 C.S. Davidson letter are addressed. And also include in that motion, we think, I didn't have a chance to give you a close review, Kinsley's have. We just want to make sure there's no wording changes that are required in the road agreement. But what was pointed out to me is that it doesn't reference a specific plan, just this particular property by address. So we should be okay, but I think it's probably wise just to put that in the motion.
Did Jeff give us 2 letters? I thought I read 2 letters in there. First part of April and then on down in April. I can't find it now.
This is the only one I'm aware of, but
Okay.
if he gave you one later,
That one.
it's a shorter list
Okay.
of this one, so we'll definitely be covered.
Make a motion to approve the final plan for, Shrewsbury Industrial LLC Elm Drive Warehouse Project.
Second.
Conditional upon the conditions in the April 2nd, 2026 C.S. Davidson letter have been completed, as well as any potential language changes for the roadway agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second that would approve the final plan along with the, or conditional upon the C.S. Davidson letter. Questions? Call for the vote.
Aye.
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 5 votes to the affirmative, so we have approved the final plan.
Sorry to get you guys out of here so early.
You're welcome. We didn't give you a chance to talk, but didn't think we had to, so.
You're more than welcome to stay.
Thank you all for being here, just in case we had questions. Appreciate that. I think the next thing, Todd, is just informational, but you might want to talk about the Gateway Logistics Center.
Yeah, this is really just informational. I think we
Right.
have
There's a C.S.
graphic
Davidson
of
letter
that.
in this one, Bob. Was this the one?
Maybe it's the one, I know I looked at 2 of his letters and they're both in April. I can't find them now.
No, there's no C.S. Davidson letter with this one. Todd will explain.
I tell you what, Bob, what I think you're thinking
2
about,
Okay.
the original packet that went out, I believe, had the church,
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
and that,
I'm
we
sorry, I-
pulled that out because they are not ready.
Oh, okay.
So that's why you have the revised agenda.
Yeah, I should have
Yeah.
noted that. You want to
Yeah.
pull the,
That, I just happened to
Good
think of
finding.
that, but that's,
Just kidding.
yeah, so.
right, you want to pull that out. That would be the one on the church. They weren't ready, so.
This was just, as everyone heard, there's a proposed warehouse on the north side of the giant shopping center there off of Mount Airy Road. And we just identified where that location is and then where the 2 warehouses are on Elm. And you'll see there, I just followed up with a letter basically supporting what Shrewsbury Borough had in their comments regarding any impact on our traffic signals at the intersection of Mount Airy and East Forest Avenue. And then just, raise general concerns about traffic at exit 4. So it's all in the hands of PennDOT at this point in time, because that portion of Mount Airy Road is actually a state road. It's not a borough road or township, so.
It's just state on the other side of Forest Alley.
Yeah, on the other side of Forest,
right.
going up in front of Giant and under 83, so. But I just want to share this information with you, just so you were aware of it, where they are in that process.
Have you seen plans that show just one entrance in or one off Far Hill Drive?
We have not seen any plans for several months. Now, we're not part of the approval process, but they did share them with us initially when they were talking about the traffic. And the initial plan that we received showed one coming off of Far Hills, is it? And then one onto Mount Airy. But they sent us a revised set showing nothing coming off of Far Hills. That's the last that we saw. That's the last one we saw, so.
Probably should also note that I think in this general area on the older draft agenda was a request to transfer topsoil by Hillwood, and that also was pulled from the agenda. They weren't ready for that.
Yeah, they didn't deliver what they said they would deliver to us in their request, so.
So that's in your packet,
Okay.
but we pulled that out too. All right, that leads us to reports. First is the manager's report. Todd, anything you want to highlight? Or
No, the only thing is, of course, Art, Ryan, Brian, Tracy, and myself were at the PSATS conference up in Hershey on April 20th and 21st. And we have the famous Brad Dauberman, who was a speaker at that conference at one of the workshops. So Shrewsbury was represented well. And but it was a good conference. Actually, I found the workshops, for me, the ones I attended, because there was, quite a few at each session. For me, I found more informative this year than what I found them last year, the ones I attended. But it was a good conference. And then the only other thing is,
website is live.
yes, that's right. I want to bring that up. I don't know if you can open that. Just show you quickly. I don't know if anyone remembers what the old version looked like. It wasn't very user friendly. It just was, everything was so condensed. And now we still have some work to do with it. We want to get some other photos and so forth, but we think it's a lot more user friendly than what it was in the past. And then if Ryan goes up there at the top, what's a big change for this one is, like, when you hover over the main tabs, then we have other subcategories like Board of Supervisors, Staff Directory. Like if you click on Financial, you can then go over here to Audit Reports and scroll down, and then there's the audits and the budgets. And then you can just hit that drop down and just click on any of them, and the PDF will open up. So it's a lot easier to navigate. Permits and planning, I think, is a big improvement because we now have everything segregated, by zoning, by building permit, by stormwater, subdivision, land development, and on our old site, everything was kind of all intertwined in the forms and so forth. So, again, every website is always a work in progress, so we still have a little bit to do. So if anyone ever comes across anything that says, this doesn't really work the best, or maybe we should have something additional, please let us know so we can add that.
When did this go live?
Was
April
It was April
23rd.
23rd.
Oh, okay,
Yep. So,
looks
All right.
nice.
Were you going to,
yeah, and then the other thing was, and we could talk about it later, but I had it in the agenda
Okay, you can do
packet
whatever you
here,
want.
but we'll wait until I guess we get to the
Okay.
Parks and Rec.
that works fine. All right, we had no report from the solicitor. We have the zoning office. Were there any other questions from Todd first on his report for anybody? Okay. We have the zoning officer, codes enforcement, sewage enforcement. Again, Todd, Ryan, and I went through this in pretty good detail yesterday. It's getting shorter. Some things are happening. Some are dragging a little bit, but I think all those are being addressed, and I think staff is pretty much on top of all these, unless there are specific questions from anybody on any of them. Or Todd, anything you wanted to emphasize?
No.
Have the maintenance department report. Questions on anything there, or anything to highlight, Todd or Ryan?
No, the Marge Goodfellow Park, when they had the Rec Commission had Touch a Truck event, that was on a Sunday. Tyler and Tony were both over. They took over a dump truck and the roadside mower, and they actually both enjoyed it. And from what I heard, it was very, very well attended. And it was the first time they had it, but neighboring municipalities, whatever, participated in New Freedom and so forth. So,
Yeah, I heard
and I
there
think
was
they
a
had,
lot of
I think they had farm equipment and everything there, from what I understand. So, they estimate they had 500 people.
Yeah.
So I think that's a lot of people for Touch a Truck for kids. But, so anyway, that seemed to have been well attended.
Well, we thank our guys for participating. I think it's important to try to be part of those things.
Yeah. And then I did put on here, our roof was, we discovered after the last meeting, our roof was getting pretty bad on this pavilion down here. So our maintenance department, if you took notice, we have a metal roof on there now. So they did all that work and
Yeah, it looks
did a
good.
nice job. Looks really good.
Yeah, it looks really good.
So, other than that, I don't have anything else to add.
Questions from anybody? I'll move to the engineer's report. Changes are all highlighted and I think self-explanatory, unless anybody has any questions. We move to the recreation report, and I think that's where Todd wants to address this.
Yeah, we had our first meeting, the Miller Park Master Plan Committee. Consists of 10 people, 5, should look in your PDFs. Down, that are open. There we go. All right. So we, one of the first things we want to do, we're going to send out postcards to all the township residents. And this is what the postcard will look like. You can either go onto the website, type that in, or you can use the QR code on your phone and do the survey. It's not super long. It's pretty easy to get through. So encourage anyone it's a resident, to help fill that out. And then once we get all that information back, our consultant will do a tabulation of what's high on the wants list and what's low on the wants list. So anyway, you'll see that coming out.
And please fill it out.
Yes.
You get it.
Ray reviewed it.
Southern York County Recreation Commission report. I just was going to note a couple of things in there. They are now discussing, I think, the slight difference between resident and non-resident fees, considering that perhaps should be increased. It's a $5 difference right now. We got some more information on the line dancing that we questioned a couple times. It was under the previous director, so it's hard to get too much, but it appears like some fees were raised, but they all went to pay instructor fees, and probably that wasn't enough. And I think we're still tracking down some expenses. We want to see some more details and explanation on health insurance and a few others. And Jeff and I, Renaud and I had some conversation. I think Jeff knows the critical items, and he's making sure the township gets its answers and its fair share. So
Yeah,
and
trust me.
we appreciate you're there to do that. I think right now it's needed. Any questions on that? Jeff is, of course, our representative.
Yeah, I'll just add that Ryan and I met with New Freedom Borough Manager, the rec director, and Ryan Ross, I believe he the chair?
He's the chair.
Yeah.
He's also a council member.
Yeah, yeah. We just wanted to, as a result of the last meeting, we had some questions, of course, about the budgets and the reports. So they had some questions for us as well. So we had a very good meeting, I thought. I think it was very productive. We both came out with a lot of homework to do, just information to gather. One of the things that we're going to be working on is the township pavilions are mostly rented through our office here. They come in. But the Rec Commission has, it's called My Rec. You go online and you can rent any facility and so on and so forth. And then Wendy will have access to that as well. And then, if it's rented directly online, they'll receive those funds, but then they'll be transferred over to the
So
township.
in the end, all the funds for those rentals come back.
Correct.
Because they help maintain,
Yep.
help us
Yep.
maintain
Yeah.
the pavilion.
So that, and then we talked a little bit about, they were going to look into the detail because we questioned the insurance cost. What did that all include? We also questioned the audit report because for the Rec Commission, that was shown as an actual expenditure greater than what we pay for our full audit here. So they're going to look into that. And then we also had a discussion, if you remember, we talked about, and they can't do it with every program, and I don't think they should, but if they have regular programs like the line dancing or the bocce ball or what have you, they're going to start showing a specific line item that shows bocce ball registration and then the bocce ball expense. So when you're looking at that report, you can just see for yourself whether that's generating enough revenue to cover the cost and so forth. So they're going to work on that. So it's quite a few things. They're not major things, but quite a few things for both of us to work on. So
Are you re-meeting?
yes.
Another meeting once
Mhm.
everybody gathers their information?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Good. Okay. Questions? Thanks, Todd. Fire and EMS, I think maybe, Todd, you might want to address a couple things there, and then if Brad wants to add anything.
Yeah, we've been working with for quite a while over here at the markets at Shrewsbury. They got their major, what I call life and safety issues addressed, panic bars and so forth. Some of the things that they still had to work on, and again, this is through the building code official, our BCO, Kevin Herzog. There are some things that are not required under the UCC code, but Kevin encouraged them to do, and they did do them. And some of those things had to do with locks. Like on the interior, you just have the turnkey where anybody could lock that door. So they switched all those out to keyed locks. And that was just so, if somebody comes in, locks the door, and, decides to go crazy or something.
Torch the
But
place.
yeah. So those types of things, they have all panic hardware on now. They did have one fire pull alarm that was kind of hidden, and they did get that corrected. And again, earlier, they did do they rearranged and relocated some of their emergency lighting, so the alleyways were all lit. So bottom line is, 2 weeks ago, Kevin was out, he did his final inspection, and he said everything looks fine to him.
So no
Good.
blocked doors or anything like that?
Not when he was there. And I will tell you, Kevin stressed that. I was with him on 2 of the 3 inspections.
Good.
The last one I was not. But I will tell you, Kevin stressed that a lot, including not leaning ladders up, even the side wall where you're going out. Keep those walls open.
And this was the market building rather than the furniture?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Well, I've taken notes the last few times up there that the ladders haven't been placed where they were and so
Yeah,
forth.
yeah. So.
I did
So if
notice.
anyone sees them creeping back again, and the 2 gentlemen that we worked with, they were very cooperative. They wanted to do what they're supposed to do, and I can only imagine, not that it makes it right, but I can only imagine having the number of people that work up there. you know, reminding them and hounding them and, you know, like, yeah, and then, you know, they're in a hurry or whatever. But I will say Kevin he did stress that point frequently with them. They need to keep those open. So, all right. And then the other thing is, you know, we have the Savvy Citizen here at the township is where we push out notifications to you through the cell phone system. When we were up at the PSATS conference, we were talking to the regional reps with Savvy Citizen, and they had indicated to Art and I that I guess Shrewsbury Borough, I believe, was thinking about getting Savvy Citizen at some point, but I don't think they've moved forward with that. And if they did that, the Shrewsbury Fire Company was going to piggyback on that so that they could have their own, basically, Savvy Citizen. So Art and I said, there's no additional cost. It's something that they do complimentary for, you know, fire companies and EMS and so forth. So they do have the Shrewsbury Fire Company now set up. We won't do any of their notifications. They'll do everything themselves. They'll do their thing and we'll continue to do our thing. And they're not intertwined. They're two totally separate platforms. And we did ask the question if we're approached by, I would imagine New Freedom, they might already be hooked up with New Freedom Borough, I don't know. But if Glenrock Borough, they said they would do it for any fire EMS that serves the township. There's no limit, so.
Good. Yep. Questions?
Anything, Brad?
No, thank you for the follow-up from Marcus, Savvy Citizen. Our report system had massive issues this past month with the CAD system, so that set us behind, but I'll have the reports for you.
Okay, no problem. Those things happen.
More so than not. Some days.
Are there any questions for us?
Okay. Anything else for Brad? We don't have an emergency management report. We know that's all in good hands with Stan. You have the Planning Commission and Zoning and Hearing Board. Are there any questions?
I got a report from
A written.
Yeah, not a, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Oh, what is?
I got a report from Stan, but he's not here
You should have one in your packet.
to give one.
It's a situation report.
Did you get one?
Yeah.
Says situation report.
Okay.
It has about drought and.
We do have a
thunderstorms.
report. I don't
Yeah.
think I got it in my packet.
Oopsies.
Yeah, I don't know.
Look at it.
Yeah, at the last meeting, I don't know if you remember, Stan said he wasn't able to get it completed,
That's
but
right.
he'll get it out in a few
Yeah.
days. So we had it shortly thereafter, but.
No, I don't think I got that one. Okay, we do have a report. Questions from anybody? That's
You
okay.
can have it.
That's okay. All right, I guess that, these, ad hoc committee, we did meet, yesterday. We think we have a, final ordinance, to submit to the County Planning Commission, and we'll address that further when we get to new business, so I'll hold that till then. And we haven't anything significant to have a sewer committee meeting at this time. Supervisors' comments. I would note that, a couple of things on there. I'm gonna jump to the bottom. You have my report. Was a presentation, by Teddy Fisher on York County Parks. A couple of things that just probably will apply to us. They have an e-bike policy. They only allow e-bikes right now on the rail trail. They don't allow them in any of the parks. And they have to be under 750 watts, class 1 and pedal assisted. And they do not allow electric skateboards or scooters in any of the parks. And I think one of the things the ad hoc committee is gonna look at now that we're through data center is probably, looking at our rules for the parks, and we would probably exclude e-bikes from being allowed in any of the parks as well. And I did attend the educational conferences. Like Todd, probably of all the years I've gone, they were the best workshops and most informative that I've ever been at. I attended one on land use and zoning law update. Just one thing I'd highlight from that. The instructor noted that developers are actively looking for warehouse conversions to data centers. So I think we're getting our data center ordinance in place just in case. We have two big warehouses here, so you never know what could happen. So that's kind of one of the things they're doing to try to get into places quicker. The second one I attended was a fire chief's panel discussion. Brad was one of 4 people there. Thought he did a good job. So our township, in a way, was represented. The focus was on kind of volunteer sustainability incentives, I guess. Is that a good one-sentence summary? I thought there was a lot of good information that came out of it. Some good discussion back and forth. So appreciate the talk, Brad, that you were involved in that. I attended one was why agrotainment is the term they use, can help save farms and how to do it. It is basically commercial activities on working farms that attract visitors for education, entertainment, or recreation. And I did note that Clean and Green does not allow any kind of sales from any of the farm activities. So you can't have a farmer's market or anything like that if you're clean and green. I did not know that. That's something else that in general the ad hoc committee might be looking at as we go forward.
What was that again? If you're clean and green?
If you're clean and green, you cannot sell anything to the public at your farm.
Yes, you can.
Not according to the guy that taught this class.
That's bull.
Okay. Well, if I see him next year, I'll let him
No,
know.
because I mean,
Yeah, that's
you
what
got Craig Allison down there. He's clean and green. I'm clean and green. I used to sell off
Yeah.
the farm.
Yeah, I mean, I
It didn't
I understand it doesn't sound right.
That's why I mentioned it here,
Yeah.
because it didn't sound right to me, and I wonder if everybody knows that. So he may have been wrong on that.
What municipality is he from?
I'll put a question mark there, and I'm going to go in and look at his handouts
Okay.
and see what
I just never
see
heard
what-
such a thing.
that said.
Wasn't he from Philadelphia City?
I'm glad,
It might be.
I'm glad I brought it up, but they all have, I think the handouts are online, are available. So I'm gonna look.
Well, because if you're producing farm, you're selling product.
Yeah.
I mean,
So it didn't sound right to me, so that's why I thought, well, I should tell everybody that, because I'm gonna look that up, though. I'll see if what his handout says. And if it says that, we can question it.
I would.
Okay, good. I attended one on zoning legislation and case law updates. This was given by Michael Crotty, who, if you remember, represented us in the case was it
Sue Fox
Sue
and
Fox,
Jeff
yeah.
Van Boer,
He was the
The ins-
attorney that, I guess he represented our insurance company.
correct.
Not us. But it was, he went through a lot of ordinances. I think it's worth mentioning a couple. Ordinances now are effective immediately. I think we knew that. It used to take 5 days for those. There's a pending bill, HB 2284, which would charge townships if they have no local police force and just use state police. We know this comes up every year. Karate feels it will likely pass this year. I guess that remains to be seen, but he made that comment. That'll relate to something else I'll go over in a minute. There were ones that would require OSHA regulations to apply to municipalities. They don't at the present time. There were several bills. They didn't go with specifics. He says just too many of them that are aimed at helping fire and EMS, especially in how money could be provided. I don't have any other detail other than that. Local zoning, a couple takeaways, and again, this is where it would take away, literally, local zoning control in many areas from the municipalities. One bill would prohibit minimum parking requirements in residential areas. Another would, quote, reduce the, quote, red tape to expand housing options. This would be automatic approval for certain developments, eliminate min-maximum density and heights restrictions, eliminate excessive setbacks, lot sizes, or lot coverage mandates. They want to control that at the state level. I think our local legislators are aware of most of these and our concerns. There's another would allow multi-family housing in office and retail zones. Another one that would allow ADUs by right in every zoning district. Another that would legalize shared living, and another would have countywide regulations on short-term rentals. Another said there are a lot of bills introduced regarding data centers, and most of them are favorable to the data centers. And there are a lot of housing bills to increase affordable housing. These are all bills. They're not law, and some might make it, some might not. In Pennsylvania, legislators seem to think that their constituents, I think, value them by how many bills they introduce. So there's just thousands of bills that are introduced every legislative session. And our legislators are full-time. Many states aren't, most aren't, but ours are full-time, so they have time to do all that. He did emphasize that when you look at taxes and assessments, bear in mind that if you implement a tax, then utilities and government agencies aren't taxed. But if you make it an assessment, then they will pay. He said, so there are cases where an assessment might be a better move than a tax. One of the things he said he thought was very important is never, ever, ever, ever send township employees to mow or clean up property. He said, you don't want that liability. You don't want to, use a contractor or do it that way. He said, and I don't think we ever do.
No, anytime we've had to do that, we did always use a
But he said,
contractor.
never send your own employees. And he noted that courts have said many times that solar farms are not farming. And the last one was ACRA 101. That's Agricultural Communities and Rural Environment. It basically says your local ordinance, and we know this, can't violate state law. It's not valid if it does. Ag is the second largest industry in Pennsylvania, so it's critical when it's protected. ACRA's purpose is to resolve friction between farmers and suburban crawl. It's under the control of the Attorney General's office. I think we know all this, and Todd took this course, I think, last year too. He did note that for decisions by the Attorney General's office, they fine for the farmer about 40% of the time, against the farmer about 40% of the time, and they just try to get both sides together about 20% of the time. He said the townships don't make many mistakes. They're pretty on top of it. He said 2 areas where they sometimes do relate to timber harvesting. He said Penn State has a great model ordinance. And we know this one, I think, regarding KOs, concentrated animal feeding operations, and biosolids, which are preempted by state regulations. So we've been through the last 2 of those, so we're kind of aware. But I said very, very interesting compared to probably prior ones. The other one I was just going to mention briefly is that we had a request from Southern Regional Police Department, along with New Freedom and Shrewsbury Boroughs, to meet with them. They asked Todd, Rodden, Ryan, and myself if we would meet. And their purpose was to express concerns over their increasing involvement and service into the township. A lot of residents apparently call Southern Regional thinking they represent or serve the township. And they get a lot of calls where they can't, they got to determine, is this in the township, is this in the borough? They spend a lot of time in this jurisdiction blur. And they are requested by state police many times to either fill in, hold people. They had a couple of cases at Royal Farms for that, where the state police asked them to step in and take care of something until the state police get there. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. So they got a lot of, and they will respond to emergencies, and they see things as they drive through. So all this was kind of to say, can you guys go away and think about all this, and maybe there's a way you can buy some time from us or do something that we could handle these things and not worry about whose jurisdiction it is. What we said is we would share this information with the board. That's what they asked us to do. And at the same time, we requested quite a bit of additional data, which we've just received, and we're evaluating that. So I think when we get through all that, we'll get the board together. We're trying to figure out how we do that, hopefully as an informational meeting and not in a public session where we scare everybody that, uh-oh, now they're gonna bring the police in. So just kind of wanted to know in case you hear or anything that we did have some conversation, and we will follow up with everybody, and it'll be informative and educational, I think, as we look at it now. It's some interesting statistics, and when we get all those together in a form that we can share it, we'll do that. I don't know if you want to add anything.
No, I think you covered it well.
Yeah, so it was a very friendly meeting. I don't know that I agree with the statement by Brian Schweitzer in that he said, your people would just love it if you would have the police cover the township. Also would require some money. I hear the opposite. I hear from most people, don't join that and get another tax to us or something. So at any rate.
I don't think they have enough officers to cover the township.
What was that?
I said, I doubt they have enough officers to cover the township.
No, I mean, if
Well, you know what you
the
have to,
township ever did join, they'd certainly have to hire personnel.
what you have to
but-
remember is they drive through the township all the time.
Yeah.
Because they go to Stewartstown anytime.
But if they have to service the township,
Well,
I don't know.
well,
It
it
seems like
depends.
it's doubling.
It depends on, one of the ways you could do that is like Glenrock does, they just buy a few hours that helps. What I think would make us think very seriously about it is if the charge to have state police, because they're not going to increase coverage. You know, it's just all the money now that they divert money from road repairs basically to state police. And they want money to cover that. So it's not that they would hire more troopers or do anything else. It's just, so I think that would really take some serious conversation.
All right.
But no, they have 14 officers right now that they have there. And a lot of times they do pass through the township because that's how they get anywhere.
Sure.
But no, good comment. So.
Do we know anything about a high-speed pursuit a week and a half ago on a Sunday that appeared to have ended on Clearview? I was passed at the markets of Shrewsbury, double yellow, and 6 state troopers were chasing the guy.
Didn't hear anything.
And
Well, I guess they can get state troopers in the
there
area.
was a crash or something that happened around Clearview. I'm not sure if that vehicle crashed, it caused another crash, etc. But there were about 4 or 5 of the 14 Southern Regional police
Oh, it was all
officers that
Southern
also
Regional. Okay.
joined the fray at that point, and then traffic was being diverted around that intersection. And I couldn't find anything about it. I'm like, I lived it. I saw what happened, but I didn't see anything on the news. I had no idea.
I think I saw a little bit of something. I get this thing on my phone. It's like a wavy emergency sign in it. It's anything that's going on as an emergency. Basically, they're listening to Congress. So I'll get something that says, you know, police dispatch to so-and-so, but it doesn't tell you much else. Or fire department or EMS. It'll be, there were 4 in the borough one day last week where it was like somebody wasn't breathing, having trouble breathing, somebody had a heart attack. And one was an apartment in the borough, one was a house, and that's all it tells me. It doesn't give any detail. It's just a little flash, you know, that comes up. I'll try to say, I don't know that I can even save them, but, and I don't do it, but you can go in and listen to the dispatch. So all it knows is something was dispatched here. That's I don't know what, I didn't sign up for it. I didn't do anything, but I get that. I know I saw something, and that's all it was, about a high-speed chase up Main Street.
Yeah.
That's all it said. Wasn't any detail.
Well, he scared me. I'm just out for a Sunday afternoon drive. I was doing 50 and a 45, and he had to have been doing 85 to 90 past me. And I looked in my rearview mirror, and I was like, oh, that's a state trooper. I just pulled off to the side, let him go, and pulled back out. And there's another state trooper. Pulled back off.
So were they
and then there were like 3 or 4 more that went past
Were
me.
they troopers or Southern Regional?
No, those were state troopers.
Okay.
Yeah, we were going south, so I don't know where he picked them up from, but he was leading a good old charge. Southern Regional came up Main Street from this way, after the excitement had cleared.
Wow.
Well, the state troopers won't respond to non-reportable accidents. At least that was according to Southern Regional.
They were right on scene. They didn't have to respond.
And I think if they don't think it's a real emergency and they don't have somebody in the area, they don't send somebody in. They'll ask Southern Regional to cover for them.
All right, I'm sorry, I derailed the meeting.
I'll look on my phone when we're done. If I have one of those, I'll show it to you. Okay, I guess the comments. Well, that was a comment from Dave, but comments from Dave or anybody else?
I'd like to give a shout out to our township employees. When I look at the treasurer's report, I see some things in there I think were purchased to do the repairs and maintenance of our equipment. And I think the money that saves us from having to ship our equipment out, and they do a good job, so I appreciate that.
I agree with that.
We'll pass that
Certainly
along
do.
to them.
Anybody else? All right, thank you. Let's just know old business, so we can move right into new business. And Todd, do you want to take the lead on the zoning ordinance amendment?
Yeah, what we're looking for here, and we just wrapped it up yesterday, so we just, you don't have a final version in front of you, but, with the data center being the hot topic across the country right now, York County's not alone. We jumped on that bandwagon as well, and we should need
We
to be
had
prepared
4 of
for
them
it.
at last month's LGAC meeting. There were
Okay,
4
yeah. Yeah, I think every municipality in York County is
townships
doing it
were-
that has any land available. So, anyway, the ad hoc committee, we met, that was our 4th time
Right.
on that draft. We think we have it in good shape now. So, what it'll be a text amendment to the zoning ordinance. Now, what we're recommending to the board is we don't have any conditional uses currently in our zoning ordinance. This would be the first one. And what a conditional use is, basically, when you go to the zoning hearing board for a specific use, you have to argue a hardship, so on and so forth. And the zoning hearing board makes the final decision, but they pretty much have to follow the ordinance and what the law is and so forth. Conditional use still provides a list of supplementary conditions that they need to meet, but it's worded, and the nature of a conditional use approval is that decision is made by the elected officials, the Board of Supervisors in this case. And it gives you more opportunity to negotiate things that you may or may not want, versus that with the zoning hearing board. Zoning hearing board's pretty cut and they can't negotiate like the board would be able to. So it would be up to the board that would need to approve that plan and use. Does that make sense?
I think so.
So that, and then the other text amendment, which is very minor, is basically the insertion of one sentence that would state that in the definition of a warehouse, it will state that does not include a data center.
Fair enough. Do these have to be
So-
advertised for a public hearing?
Well, what we'd be asking for tonight is authorization from the board for us to submit it to the York County Planning Commission for their review and comment.
Okay.
And they meet the 3rd Tuesday. So,
That's coming up.
we'll get that in before the third Tuesday of this month, so they would hear it next month in June. So, we'd have their recommendation for our
Would-
July meeting, and we could talk
Would they be able
about
to see it in May?
Hmm?
They'd be able to see it in May and we'd have it in June.
No, they have to have it 30 days,
Okay.
so, prior to their meeting.
All right.
So we're already past their May
And
meeting.
it goes through the LGAC first,
Yeah.
so you have to have time for it to do that, for a recommendation.
So, yeah, it'll go through LGAC first, they'll do a recommendation to the York County Planning Commission, then York County Planning Commission will make a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors.
Which we'll be able to review in July.
July, yes. And then at that point in time, you know, depending what they come back with, you could say, yeah, we agree with this suggestion or that suggestion. You don't have to accept any of them. You can accept all of them. Hopefully there's none, but I doubt that would be the case. And then at that point in time, you could decide whether or not you're ready to advertise it
Fair enough.
for adoption, which could be done as early as August.
All right.
We did use as the basis, the model ordinance from York County.
Correct.
But we added some things, but we really took a lot of things out because wherever we could, we said, well, this is already in our Saldo or zoning ordinance, and we just referenced that section rather than repeat it all again.
Yeah.
So it addresses things like noise and vibration and Keith was on the committee, so we had his input from a zoning officer standpoint and what other areas are doing. Right now, you know, the LGAC and York County are pretty quick to approve them because they know it needs to be in a hurry and, you know, they can't comment too much on their ordinance. I do think it's a pretty good ordinance right now, so,
I would make a motion to send the zoning text amendment on data centers to the York County Planning Commission.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to send the ordinance on to the York County Planning Commission. Questions? We'll vote.
Aye.
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 5 votes to the affirmative. We will send that along. Todd, you have the annual autumn dash.
Yeah, this is, as you can see, this will be the 5th year.
Same route as always.
Same route as always, nothing's changed.
What's the date?
The date
September?
would be September 19th,
19th.
which is a Saturday. I believe they start usually around 8:30 in
They're
the
gonna have
morning.
people on the street.
Yeah, they take care of the traffic control and so forth, so.
Sounds good. I make a motion to approve the YMCA's 5th annual Autumn Dash 5K on
Second.
Saturday, September 19th, 2026. Sorry, that was a long-winded motion.
Yeah,
I appreciate your
well, I thought
eagerness.
I timed it about right, but.
You weren't expecting me to throw the date in, I know.
Okay, we have a motion and a second that would approve the YMCA's annual autumn dash. Any further questions? Call for the vote.
Aye.
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 5 votes to the affirmative. We have approved that. Have two trash and recycling waivers. They're standard. God, no reason.
No, I know the 677, kind of implies like they might have a buyer, but this is one that had an illegal apartment above the garage. It was built several years ago.
Whoops.
And
You have
it's
to make
a-
some
it's an
adjustments
estate.
before it's able to be.
Yeah, it's an estate that's handling this now. The owner at the time is, of course, deceased. And so it took several months to get all the permit approvals and occupancy because they had to take out the kitchen and so forth. With that said, she had a buyer several months ago. She said, but I have no idea if they're still interested today. So both of these would be retroactive to April 1st.
So moved.
Second.
All right, and you're moving for both, correct?
Correct. Thank you.
So we have a motion
Clarification.
and a second that would approve the two trash and recycling collection waivers back to the month of April. Questions? We'll vote.
Aye.
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 5 votes to the affirmative. We approve those. We have 3 stormwater operation maintenance agreements, all the standard agreement.
Yes.
Todd?
Yep.
So
Make a
these
motion to approve all 3 stormwater operation and management agreements for, including 323 Eliza Road, 4532 Stelz Road, and 13069 Glen Valley Road.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to
Thanks, Bob.
approve the 3 stormwater operation and maintenance agreements. Questions before we vote? I'll ask for the vote.
Aye.
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 5 votes to the affirmative. We've approved the 3 stormwater and maintenance agreements. Next up is wireless smoke, heat, and heat detection installation. Todd or Ryan?
Where are we putting them?
So this is a quote to install smoke and some heat sensors depending on the location of the building. The office side of this building, everything over to the firewall, the shop does not have any smoke detectors in it. Apparently it did not need any when it was built because
Of occupancy
occupancy
load.
load and nobody sleeping here. We do have
We still don't want it to burn down.
correct. We do have the pull stations and all. We do have a fire alarm system here, but it's using the pull stations, and it's for the sprinkler system inside the shop area. When the sprinkler trips, sets the fire alarm off. I got a quote from the fire alarm company to add on to the existing system, thinking that would be best to keep it, fire all the same. That quote came back at $38,700. So, started exploring some other alternatives, and we can add this to our security system that we have. And he's going to be adding 16 smoke detectors and 5 heat sensors, and labor and all included is $3,430. So quite a bit different. Like I say, it'll be going through our security system instead, but will alert the fire department and all.
So we'll wake Brad up, is what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
And this Blasser is who installed our security cameras and so forth, so we've had experience with them.
The ones at the parks.
And here in the building.
Anything,
Okay.
all the
Yeah.
security system here and all. This will be included in our yearly rate, so there's no additional
Wonderful.
yearly fee
All
or
right.
anything.
I'd make a motion to approve the quote for the wireless smoke and heat sensors for our building.
Second.
We have a motion and a second that would approve the security quote that you have. Questions? Does it help us at all in our insurance?
It should, yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it might get a little offset from the.
Just
our
when
insurance
Ryan
cost.
thought he was done with insurance.
Yeah.
Ryan's done a good job. He's gone through our policies with the insurance in great detail. He spent a lot of time going through it and talking to insurance folks and doing inventories of what we had, making sure that we had coverage for things that we need coverage, some things that we were being covered for that we don't have anymore. And so he pretty well has that all tied up. So we'll give him something to do again in the insurance area.
Okay, so. I
We had a
think
motion and a
have
second.
Motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Aye.
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 5 votes to the affirmative, so we have approved that quote. I would note that probably maybe you should have added, we do have another ad hoc committee that is looking at insurance, all of our insurances in general, and also employee health insurance, and then we'll look at employee benefits, just kind of an oversight of all that. Jeff Rogers and I sit on that along with Todd and Ryan, and we appointed this some time back, so the board was approved that. We just had not met for some time, and we'll be inviting our insurance providers in to kind of fully understand some of the options that are out there. So I should have mentioned that, but just brought it up when we talked about this. And we have, I think, Todd, you were going to briefly mention, and then we'll table this until the gentleman's with us, the steam bank restoration.
Yeah, just real quickly, if you look there on your screen, Where you see the green dash lines is the Shrewsbury side of the bank. To the, I guess that'd be the northwest, the light blue is Cadorus Township. And then where you see the pinkish red identified as Springfield, you'll see like handy dandy dumps are there. And actually, they're showing all that in Springfield Township. The Shrewsbury Township is probably about where Ryan has the cursor right now, up here to 616. So overwhelming majority is lying within Shrewsbury Township. Just quickly, this would be for the township, request would be for the township to be the applicant, mainly for the permits, no cost to the township. It saves about $30,000 to $40,000 in permitting fees if it's a municipality that's the applicant.
We've
And
done
then-
this before,
And
correct?
they're just
I
looking
don't
to
recall that.
restore the.
We should have done it for over Dices.
Yeah, well, they never followed through on that one. So,
I thought they did some over there.
well, if they did.
Well, it was
I'm not
below
aware of it.
Dices
We
they did.
didn't do the app, we didn't do for the application.
Cause
Yeah.
they
They
did-
just kind of wanted our support for those projects, but,
Okay.
yeah.
So they're gonna be here next month to go over.
Yeah, so just to give you an idea, they're gonna come, he's gonna come next month, the gentleman that's handling this project, and he's gonna go over it a little more in detail and then answer any questions you might have,
Okay.
so.
Tell them to bring pictures.
I told him we have the capability of projecting, so he said, oh, good, so I don't know what he'll bring.
The side benefit could be they might see that there's some cleanup needed around handy dandy dumpsters.
Well, that's what I'm hoping.
Yes.
Yeah,
I doubt they're gonna work on handy dandy, but most likely they're getting state funds for the stream restoration. is what
I'm sure,
guessing.
they're getting grant funds
Um,
somewhere.
They have a lot of wonderful programs, but
The stream does run right beside handy dandy dumpster, so
And there's been some spills.
that's
There's
why
been complaints of discharge of washing out dumpsters and so forth, so this here would certainly make that more visible, if that is occurring.
okay.
Questions? We'll get into that in more detail next month, so nothing to vote on this month. You have two things in correspondence, the LGAC newsletter and also an invitation to go watch owls, if you would like to do that, or bird watching, I guess, along the Hanover Trail. That comes because we do make a donation to the, I guess it's the York County Rail and Trail Authority. So if anybody's interested, you can drop in. Any other things for the good of the order here?
Motion to adjourn.